Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. It's Paula here from Ohana Therapeutic Massage. I just wanted to come on and share a couple of simple back extension types of stretches that we can do to help counteract that like forward pull that we're doing all the time. And so I'm going to do two different versions of this. One is going to be, I'm going to call it a vertical, and one's going to be a horizontal back extension. And that just means, are we opening up like this way or are we opening up this way? And so that's the differentiating between it. Each has its own validity and its own juicy good uses, and so just use at your own discretion. So before I go any further, I'm going to give you just kind of a rundown on if you don't have a foam roller at home or you don't like the foam roller that you have. One of my issues way back has been with foam rollers is that a lot of times they're really, really intense and they're actually too big for what our bodies can actually handle. And I'm not talking about foam rolling like rolling back and forth on something as a massage tool. I'm talking about like a stability, it helps support you so that you can stretch for a prolonged period of time. Two different purposes, two different uses. Generally, people will have two different tools for it. So I am going to show you all of these exercises on the Smart Roller. It's a new foam roller that I started carrying. I got exposed to it when I went for my therapy intensive in Sedona, Arizona. I love it because it is a stable foam roller. As you can see, there's two different curves. And so either one depends on where your body's at that day and what you're trying to do. So the purposes for today, I'm going to put the broader side down, so it's going to give me extra stability. If I wanted less stability, I would put the more curved side down, and that would give me less stability. If you don't have one of these at home, or you don't have a foam roller of any kind, you can actually roll up a yoga mat if you have one of those. You can roll up a bath towel with some rubber bands on the end, or you can take a pool noodle. All of these will give you that same kind of supported position that we're looking for, and since this is more of a mouthwash release stretch instead of a traditional stretch, you want something that's going to be able to support you for a prolonged period of time. So there's our nuts and bolts. I'm going to move the camera down a little bit, and then I'm going to show you just the positioning, and I will not show you for a full 5 minutes on either side just because that gets to be a little bit too long for a video, but I really, really would recommend you going and you doing it for at least 5 minutes at a time. So moving the camera. So as you can see, I'm down on the floor now. I'm going to use, like I said, the stable side down for this. So the first one is going to be it's going to be vertical on your spine so that we can open up sideways. And so I am going to just kind of move up here so that I'm sitting with my tailbone just on the edge of the foam roller. If you have had tailbone injuries, that's going to be too tender, so you're going to want to lay down right away. But otherwise, I'm just going to slowly lay down. Now, positioning for this, I can either have my head on the foam roller, like completely supported, or if I was experiencing a little bit more of that base of the neck tension, I would just booty scooch my way up until that edge of the foam roller is right up against that base of the skull. And that allows a little bit of pinpointed release through here, as this is also being opened up sideways. And so for this from here, I would always recommend, especially if you have low back issues, keeping your legs straight as possible. You might be able to extend one leg out for more of a hip flexor stretch with it, but for the most part, most people's mobility in their hips does not support both legs out without hyperextending the back or hyperextending the knees. So from here then, arm placement is really what you want it to be. I would recommend starting low or starting out at 90 degrees and just really letting yourself soften into that position. As you do this stretch more, you'll be able to find that you can go overhead with it and you can really stretch that side body as well. But for a lot of people, their shoulder mobility right out the gate does not allow for that type of like opening extension position. So in a mouthwash release ideal perfect world, we would relax and we'd really soften into our body in this position for about 3 to 5 minutes. For the purposes of the video, I'm going to accelerate it. So to get off of the foam roller, I'm going to have you slide off and then pull it out from underneath you. And then let your back kind of settle into this position before getting up and moving throughout your day. If you have, again, back mobility issues, you can tuck your hands underneath your hips and use your elbows to push you up. That will help prevent spasming of the low back. So, option 2 for this, we are going to move this horizontally
And there's a few different ways we can do this in this position. If we wanted like a spinal decompression, we could put this under there. But like I said, we're focusing on back extensions and back openers for this. So for this, I'm gonna put it right about my bra line. If you're a male and you don't wear bras, it's about underneath your shoulder blades, so, okay? So I'm gonna just kind of scooch until I find that position. And then from here, I'm just gonna gently lengthen and open my head this way. So I am a mobile person, so I can do this kind of stretch with minimal issues. But if you have a lot of neck and shoulder tension, this up here is gonna be far too much for you. So it's really helpful that I have this here. For what I'm gonna do for this part then, is I'm just gonna put another support system underneath my head to support it. If you have one of my 4-inch balls or a cranial cradle or something like that, you could put that underneath to help support it. Or you could just hand under hand and also support your head that way. So these are a few different ways. Again, this will open up more of our respiratory diaphragm and our lower ribs and some of those hinge points that we have from like chronically rounding forward in a different way than that lateral opener with that vertical positioning will do. So, and then again, arms out 90 degrees. Here it's kind of hard to have them down at your side because it makes it feel weird on your shoulders. Eventually you could hypothetically do over the head. And if you have really, really good low back mobility, you could also gently lengthen your legs out to kind of stretch that hip flexors a little bit more. So again, I'm very mobile in my rib cage, and so you might not be able to get this position right off the bat. You might not be able to use a foam roller at all. You might have to just use a little rolled up towel. And there's nothing wrong with that. It still gives you a really gentle, supported position to open up these rib cage so that you don't get so many issues with, some people will have, if they're too tight in the respiratory diaphragm, they'll have GERD issues, they'll have acid reflux issues, digestion issues, an overactive vagus nerve. All of that kind of is housed through here. And so anything we can do to gently open that up will help us out. So, and again, for this, I would have you pull it out, let your spine settle onto the ground before either hands under your butt, push yourself up, or roll over onto your side and push yourself up. So that is our simple back extensions. A little bit longer of a video than I wanted, but that's okay because I gave you lots of different tools to piece apart and use for your own self-care resources. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, just put them in the comments below and I'll get to them when I can. Otherwise, I hope you have a very, very fabulous day.